All right, so we're back here to do our next story. And we're cutting out some little things here and there for more advanced stuff. So by the end of the class, you can come back and look at us and be like, oh my God, we're only doing that much. But we're working on our fundamentals right now. So first thing we're going to do is get this back. And we're going to work on this story down here because it's our second most important story. But one thing we've noticed, if we go back to the W version, is this rule here is really chewing up a lot of space. And this headline is actually probably act as a kind of a natural break for us anyway. So, because my plan right now, and I haven't shared this with you because I wanted you to concentrate on the first story package getting done, is that this story is actually going to relate back to this main Philly Nick Foles Super Bowl story. Because this is going to be the Nick Foles is the MVP story down here. So what we're going to do, it's a little bit of an advanced move, but here we go. We're actually going to delete that line. We're not going to use it. We're going to use this headline as a natural break to go with this story. So what do I mean by that? Is we're actually going to go in here and zoom back in and put this right up here, but underneath that guideline that we made before. And we're actually going to get rid of this guideline. We don't need it anymore because what we're going to do is these two stories are going to go together. So we want to signal that they go together, so we don't want to break them with a guideline there. Okay? For other days and non-Super Bowl days, you might need that guideline. That's why we put it in there in the first place. See, these two stories might not be related, and you want to put a line there to delineate that they're not related. But in this case, we do want them to be together because they are related. That's going to affect how we put things down here and the shapes of these and the sizes of these. But let's start at the top. Let's start with our headline. So let's think of our headline first. We'll go Nick Foles and the unlikely MVP. Now it obviously went off the end. It's okay. We're going to hit Control A to select it all. Up our point size down. All right, here comes unlikely. All right, so we still have 61. That's a pretty good size headline for a 129 above it, about half. So that's good. That's exactly what we want. Looks pretty good. It fits in the spot that we want it to fit into. So we're going to come back up here, and we're going to make that text box the right size. Then we're going to take our photo box, put it right up underneath, shift them down to give it a little bit of space. And now we have a little bit of room to work with here. We can leave our cut line there because it's going to rest right on the bottom. So now we have a little bit bigger of a photo box. All right, let's find our Nick Foles photo that we want to put in there. And I think the one of him with him and his daughter is pretty good photo for this one, but we'll see if it fits. So let's see. So I'm going to go Control D because it's easier for me. And here's him and his daughter. Nick Foles 1. Hit open. Okay, way too big for now. That's okay. So we have it selected right there. We have the box selected. So we go up and we take our white arrow and click on it. And you see the yellow border. That's the actual size of the photo. So we're going to go up here and we're going to take our fill frame proportionally tool. Click on it. Hey, there we go. Okay. So we zoom out, we see it's a little big still, a little wide still. So how do we make that work? Well, I think what we might do is we might click it all and drag it over like this. Let's see what that looks like. And we're going to zoom back out. All right. Even though it cuts his arm off, I think that's okay. I like the look of it. I think it's pretty good. Cuts his arm off a little bit, but it's him and his daughter, and I think it works. I'm okay with it. So good. So we have our photo done. Excellent. It was that easy. So we're going to do our cut line next since we're here. Photo by, it's obviously by the Associated Press, not Ben Myers. And then let's go Nick Foles. Oh, hang on. Philadelphia. Quarterback. Foles. celebrates winning Super Bowl. I. That's how I remember them. Comma 41-33 over the New England Patriots on Sunday. Or let's just put the date in there. Feb 5, 2018 with his daughter. And most of the time we would look up and see what his daughter's name is, but since we're just practicing here, we don't have to worry about it too much. We're just getting stuff on the page. So, all right. So now we have our headline is done. Our photo is done. Our cut line is done. Our credit line is done. Again, notice that we haven't put the text for the story on the page because we don't want it monkeying around with what our headline is going to be or what our text box is going to be. It just keeps it so much more organized because then you can just make a headline up that fits and you're not swayed by what this stuff says down here. So let's make our text boxes a little bit bigger. Line them up. Notice how the rules are popping up to help me out. That should be happening on your machine. If it's not, we can set it to do so. All right, so now we have this set up. And you notice how it's got a little bit more text on the page now, which is great. Before we put our text in, go down here, and we're going to do folds for our jump line, just because it's going to make our life much easier. We don't have to worry about that a little bit. So then we go up and take our black arrow. So we're looking good. So let's go back to our folder. Let's close this one just to get it out of the way. So here's our story. Arnie Stapleton wrote this whole big thing up. That's good. Select it all, copy it. Okay, get it on the page. Notice it didn't go into our two text boxes, only this one text box. That's okay, it's what we want. Let's select it all, grab our eyedropper, and format it properly. There we go. All set. We don't need this because our headline's pretty straightforward and talks about the Super Bowl, so we can get rid of that. And let's make this Arnie. Oops, gotta make it capitals. Arnie Stapleton. He's a member of the Associated Press. Delete that. The one thing you want to be careful with the bylines is that you keep the style the way it's supposed to be. Don't go messing around with the styles of stuff because the styles are there to make it your life easier. The more you change them, the more you're gonna have to change them back. So that's why I'm trying to, you take your time and you really gotta, draw individual boxes and that kind of thing. Because even a story this size has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 boxes involved with it to create one big box. So we have a giant rectangle. Everything should end up as a square or a rectangle. And I'll show you what I mean. Like you see how this Philly story, even though the text is an L, it makes one square unit. This Nick Foles story, even though the text is going to be 2 I's, makes one rectangular unit. And these will be one-legged text each, but they make a square rectangular units. So you want the entire thing to be made up of a bunch of little individual boxes that make one unit at the end. So let's go back to this, finish this one up. On our red plus sign, put it in our other box. Looks good to me. Jumps properly. It's going to jump to the inside. We're going to worry about that at some other time. Pretty good. So we have our big headlines. These guys connect. So we have some good art on the page. I think we're all set. Let's get these other 2 stories in here, and I think we should be good to go. So we were talking about how I hadn't really decided what the 4th story is just yet. So I'm going to go back over here and look at what I have to draw from. I definitely want the Patriots coordinators in there because I think we should have a Patriots story on there. But I think I'm going to go with Super Bowl shirts printed in Scranton as my 4th story. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take a look at how long this thing is. All right, it's pretty short. So what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put that in this bottom slot here, and I'm not going to jump it. All right, delete. line there. You saw what I did. Just went in there, selected with my black arrow tool, and hit the delete button and got rid of it. So we're going to stop that. That story is going to stop on the front page. Then I think the Eagles or the Patriots coordinators will go jump inside. So let's do, you know what we're actually going to do first? We're actually going to do the fourth story next because we want it to stop. So we might have to adjust the size of this. What I'm saying is, you know, zoom out here a little bit. This box might get bigger or smaller because we have to get this story to end on this page. We're not jumping it inside. So that might affect how long this is. So we're actually going to do this one first so it works. So let's start from the top and work our way down. Headline. Let's say Eagle. Philly. Eagles. See, this is the hard part because you have to think of a new headline, and the story is about how about we just take their headline and try and make that one work? So we're actually going to take their headline. You know, you guys have copy and pasted stuff off of the internet before. So Eagle Super Bowl shirt. So it's pretty close already. So let's see if we make this a little bit smaller. Eagles Super Bowl shirts printed in Scranton. 4 decks, 31 point size. I think that works. Let's zoom out. Okay, look. That works for me. Great. So even better. We didn't even have to really work on that one. We could just put that in there. So we have our byline on here, and we want this story to end on this page. So let's go in there and grab it. Okay. Just so we went through that, select the box, double click on it, and it should automatically give you a text option. Paste it in there. Control A to select it all. Eyedropper. And syncs it up, so it gets our style correct. All right, so our headline's already on there. So delete that. Let's see, let's do our byline next. John O'Connell. He is in the Associated Press. Okay, so now our spacing is looking good. We're looking good on everything, but wait a second. We're not looking so good here. We have to make this story end on a sentence or a paragraph break. So for now, we're going to pull this down to see what we're working with, and we're only over by 1 line. So, what are we going to do? Let's think. Let's take a look at the rest of our story. Let's actually pull it off to the side here. I'm just reading the story here. Doesn't really have a good natural break. I think we'll go to there, though. Again, that might change in other situations, or we might decide, oh, maybe we do want to jump it inside, you know. So first things first, I'm going to try and get everything. In this case, we're just practicing. So first things first, let's just get everything set up how we want it set up. So I'm just using this guideline to kind of see where I have to move my stuff. So I'm going to pull this up to here. And in this case, we're going to hold the shift button, hit up 1, because it gives us the same spacing that we want. Same thing here. Shift up 1. You know, see how I lined it up there on the top of the byline? And then just move that up 1. So that's about where our story is going to go. I think that's okay. So we're going to pull this up a little bit just to get it out of the way, just to get this stuff out of the way. So these guidelines ended up not really helping us all that much. They helped us set this rule, but they didn't really do anything else besides this. We're going to delete them. Yep, delete that. And delete that. We don't really need it. I'll remove this rule up here. So then we're going to take our black arrow, which we should still be selected on, and move it over all 3 of those. So now we have all selected. We're going to move that into place. line it up properly. All right. Looks good to me. Okay. So now we go down here. And we can draw our guidelines again. We're just going to be hardcore and just move our rule right down to the bottom and go Shift 1, 2 to give us the right amount of space. And we draw a rule right or a guideline right on that rule line and make sure the guideline is selected. And hit Shift 1, 2. So that's going to be the bottom of our top story is this guideline now. So we take our jump line, put it right on top. Okay, looking good. Then we want to take this and pull it all the way down to the top of that because we have a text wrap around that. We'll talk about text wrap some other time. So we're just working on the basics right now. So now we know we want this to be that Patriots coordinator story. So we might go after loss. Let's see, Patriots lose coaches. Let's see, let's get that to fit. That's just a train going by, please. Don't be so loud, Mr. Train. So let's say, it's really not going to work because we have to have Patriots all in one line. So see, well, maybe we can try a 4-deck head in that case. Because it's one column. So if we follow our chart, we can make a 4-deck head in a 1-column space. That's okay. That's allowed. Make this a little bit bigger just to fill it out. Oh, too big. So 37 should be where it works. So let's zoom out. Let's take a look. W. And like I said, don't be afraid to zoom in, zoom out, take a look quickly. It helps you make adjustments on the fly. And as the more you kind of check yourself as you're going forward, the easier it'll become. That looks pretty good to me. So we're going to pull this up to the top, or pull this up to underneath, sorry. We'll put our byline on it, Shift, down arrow 1. Pull our text box up, Shift, down arrow 1 to get our spacing right. Pull this down, looking good. Let's change our jump line before we get our text on the page. So let's say Pat's coaches. Okay, now let's go find that story. I think we're ready for it. We just got to put it in a little box. So then we go Patriots coordinators. Like that. On the page. Zoom in. Okay, then select it and select in there. Control A to make sure we got it all. Eyedropper tool. Make sure it works. Now we don't have to monkey around with the headline. We already did that, so delete that. Change our byline. Kyle Hightower. And he's a member of the Associated Press. There's a little AP thing there. Get rid of Kyle Hightower. We don't need him anymore. He's got his own byline already. Hit the W button just to make sure it works. And there you go. It might not be the sexiest page of all time, but fundamentally, it's a solid page. We have 4 stories on here. We might be able to put like a mugshot or something in here, but I think for what we're trying to do right now, this is our goal for the next couple of weeks, is right here. Just solid, clean design. Make sure everything fits into a nice square package, even though the text may look a little different, or a rectangled package. And that's what you're looking for right there. So I'm going to do actually one more, and we're going to do the jump page for this story, or these stories here. And I'll show you guys how jumps work and all that kind of stuff. And that'll kind of be our move ahead piece this week, other than the homework that I already sent you. So give me just a second, and we'll cut this up into another video, and then we'll be right back.